All right.
How am I gonna take this?
That happened. Oh, I wonder what happened. Anyway, and welcome to tonight's DreadLore. I'm looking for my mouse. A game where we immerse ourselves in the role-playing game of Craster. That's right, Craster.
Role-playing game of Craster.
old timiness and all that stuff. I don't know, apocalyptic setting.
Was that a picture of Jesus?
In the world of DreadLore. if you had a book, you would know. Anyway, Bill Bunkum, Ken Howl, Daniel Holker, Drizzle's out tonight. Andrea Elliott-Johnson, Jazzy Cabbage, and Max are all playing this game. It's a one-shot, all lowercase letters, and Mr. Interrupt to provide us the score as well as the Patreon folks. Please join our Patreon. Tim Roberts, Daniel Holker, Nostalgic, and Natalia Cline.
Have already joined.
We need at least double this.
Oh yeah.
Couchfire Media brings the art media production hard every week, as well as Trois Productions is throbbing.
It is throbbing. It is throbbing, and still has ended in 2023.
And clearly that's where we are. I don't know. We're a little looser tonight than normal. Loosey goosey.
That's what your mom's. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
That's what my mom said. Holker, who in the gosh living feckle is our sponsor tonight?
The Gum Dad universe.
Our sponsor tonight is eating utensils. Eating utensils are a series of small metal or wooden objects that humans have historically used to guide food from the plate into their oral cavity so that they can chew it, and that they can avoid having to touch it with their bare hands. Stick a fork in it. I'm done.
So they stick it in their orifice, huh?
In their oral cavities.
Oh, their oral cavities. Right. I mean, it's kind of the same. It's not
most of the time.
Okay, their mouth.
Their mouth
Look,
part.
I'm just reading the copy they gave me, okay? I can't help it. That's what they wanted, right? That's what's paying the bills, okay?
It's bringing home the bacon. Okay, well, that was a good sponsor. Thank you so much for utensils. How do I even follow that? I don't know. I'm not sure. Hey, let's do introductions. Who's playing tonight? We'll start with Andrea.
Hi, I'm Andrea Elliott-Johnson, and I do things and stuff. I mean, what are we just doing like a general overview of us?
Yeah, who are you?
Oh, I'm a good old country gal, living in the middle of nowhere, doing stupid things I probably shouldn't be doing, like sticking fireworks in the ground and watching them explode. It's fun. I mean, I like anime and video games and obviously TTRPGs. TTRPGs.
Yeah,
the extra
me.
T is for I don't know, something. Yeah, I mean, that's I do things. I do Renaissance fairs. That's fun sometimes. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's me. I'm a person. Nice to meet you. I'm totally a person, believe me. I'm not.
Walker, how about you?
My name is Daniel Holker, and my favorite Nintendo game for the original Nintendo Entertainment System was Tiny Toon Adventures when I was a kid.
Wait, really?
Shit,
Yeah.
I remember that too.
Tiny Toons.
I don't.
The video game. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Mine, I think, was Metroid 2.
That's like
That's a good game.
Anyway, Ken.
I'm Ken Howl, and I do lots of things for this podcast, like my actual homework, and I feel like I might be the only person that did their homework because I have a character sheet that has a name and is fully like brand new character. I'm playing a Zune Orphidian. I know I said that wrong. Called Martini Mutterfight Diddle.
Mutter Fight Fiddle?
I think I said Mutter Tight. Mutter Tight.
Mutterpite.
Mutter Tight with a T. T-I-G-H-T.
And he's an Ophidian?
He's an Ophidian.
Okay.
So he looks kind of like a lizard.
Person.
He's a snake
He's a lizard person. Yeah.
Scales, claws.
Yeah. And he has a
similar-
tail because he's an Ophidian.
Yeah. Similar hairstyle.
How about Max?
Yourself. Hello.
I'm introducing myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just returned from a work call, so he just dropped back
I
in.
literally just hung up on a work call. I have no idea what's going on.
Who are you?
Zix. But that's all I got. I don't.
No, I mean, who are you? We're
Who am I?
introducing.
I'm Max.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Anything
doing
else?
we're doing a lore drop about ourselves and where to find our things that we do.
Oh, I have a TikTok. It's Maxi Moment Effort. 2 X's and a Y. It's a Deadpool reference. And
See-
on Threads and Instagram.
See, the difference between I'm going to comment on this. The difference between our introductions is pretty enlightening. Hey, Jazzy Cabbage, who are you?
Oh, hey there, ho there. I am a videographer and streamer. My name is Jazzy Cabbage with an I in the middle. You know, you can find me at TikTok and Threads and other places that I can't think of right now. Yeah, and I tabletop with these heathens.
Oh yes,
Most
we
Mondays.
tabletop. We tabletop
Yeah,
hard.
we table hard. Yeah.
We table our tops.
Table
Yeah,
on
we
the
do.
hard. On the hard top.
Table.
Hey, Trixie, can you stop scooting the camera? That's why it just kind of keeps like shifting.
I thought it was your
just a little
foot.
bit.
Just a bit.
No, our dog is laying in front of me and she's like stretching out and it's just kind of.
Take a picture and put it in the DreadLore.
All right.
The DreadLore?
So, right. That's all the players. The reason we're doing mostly just the players instead of characters, because we're gonna do a little bit of character creation, which will probably mean a whole lot of character creation. And then we're actually gonna play through this entire adventure and get through tonight, even though we have hard stops. So let's be speedy. Ken, because you actually have a finished character. Does anyone else have a finished character?
Nah.
Nope. Okay. Since you have a finished character, you get an immediate advancement.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay. About how much of a character do you guys have right now? Max, I know you have a name, which is cool.
That's about it.
How about you, Hulker, and Andrea?
I have it's about halfway made.
Okay.
It's about yeah.
So we'll start with Ken. Tell us a little bit about your character.
Well, he's a lizard guy. We talked about that. How do you pronounce Zune?
Zunes.
I think he comes from like a wet area, like because he's
He's a wet boy.
The Pidian. He's got claws, and a tail that he uses for extra attacks. I guess he's a physician. Funny enough.
Oh shit.
So because I don't know if we ever have any healers on there, so I got tired of like having no healers, so I decided to make a healing lizard. I would imagine in polite company he would be unwelcome. It's kind of like having a minority doctor and say the 1800s America.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're
So you're a barber. Because I mean, the barbers were the doctors in that time period. Just saying.
Yeah. Or maybe 1940s America. How's that?
I would really, it would be so awesome if he was also a barber, because the Ophidians have no hair.
Yeah, no hair at all.
It's just-
So
it's
I
just
felt a
it's-
resemblance to that that special ability. I've been wanting to play an Orphidian for a while. That seems dirty to me for some reason. But
So what about Holker? What do you have thus far?
I'm just, I guess.
My character is a Snealfolk. Yeah. His name is Sir Albert Forkknife. Look, I'm sorry, it's not up to me. There was a demand for synergy. I probably shouldn't even be saying that, but right now the name is Albert Forkknife. Okay.
Forknay.
Forkknife. Forkknife. Right.
Get it right.
Yeah. Synergy. Okay. So you get a little bit more money out of those sponsors.
What kind of Schnallfolk is he?
Drowadin.
So he's a Dradine. Oh no, he's a Drowadin. Oh,
Drowadin.
okay. Okay. So we'll get into what all of this means here in a second. Right, so that means we've got Max, Jazzy, and Andrea to contend with, which is fine. And Holker, as we go, you can fill in some stuff. And Ken, if you missed anything, you can fill in some stuff. Okay, so we're going to go through character creation rather quickly. Because you guys have a hard out at around 10, right?
Yeah.
That is correct.
Okay, so character creation. Let me give you a little bit of knowledge about the world that should inform you, maybe about what you want to do or not want to do. So if you go to, in the book, page 328, I believe, you'll see a map of the world. It's at chapter 8. 320, sorry. At the bottom of the map, you'll see Azraelia. That is the southern continent, if you will. This game takes place on the eastern edge of Azraelia, up into where it says the Wound.
Oh.
So you guys are maybe not southerners, but that's where you are right now. This is the world of Craster. This game is going to be fairly low fantasy as the world of Craster is. That doesn't mean there's not magic and stuff. It just means that it's not as prevalent as something like in Dungeons and Dragons. But oh, it's there. There's technology and all these things. It's all in the book. Okay. Think of a castle dungeony crawl type thing, with a big old twist you'll probably see a mile away. I have the plague. All right. So we'll start. Having a name is really good. So if you have a name, you kind of have an idea. Write that down, of course. At the top of your character sheets, you'll see this little sentence, and it'll say, my name is whatever your name is. I'm a blank that does blank and blank. You don't have to fill that out now, but it's good to fill out. That's your sort of your character in a nutshell. Ken, what does yours say?
I was kind of doing it pretty quick. So mine says little devil outcast who wants soup and scratches folk.
Yep, there you go. So it kind of gives him a direction. Now you can actually change this a little bit as you build your character. But it's just to give you a direction. All right, your tier of play is 3. It means you guys are heroes.
Oh wow, that's more than I put. Okay.
You're going to have 2 backgrounds. So most of the stuff I'm talking about is going to be on the left of your sheet. So mark down you're going to have 2 backgrounds. That is important. And that your tier of play 3, or you could just put hero. All right.
Okay.
Now, something about DreadLore, you have a lot of blanks. A lot of those blanks, you put your character traits in. You don't have to fill them all out before we play. In fact, you can dynamically fill them out. As we're playing, if you have an open trait or a free trait, you can just decide, oh, this is what I want to be able to do. For example, let's say you come up to a wall that has a bunch of weird script on it and no one speaks it. You don't know what language it is. You could say, hey, I'm going to bid linguist. And you just decide that you are a linguist. Boom, write that down. Once you've written it down, you can't change it. But the idea is that you are playing the character you want to play. So it turns out your character can answer that riddle, right? So don't worry about having blanks on your sheet. In fact, strategically, on a mechanical level, it's actually advantageous to keep a few blanks on your sheet. All right. So your race, your sort, your origin, and your languages. Race is a pretty big deal. For example, Ken is playing a Zunths, which is a reptile person. There are several races. We're going to go through this rather quickly. So we could deliberate and read and all that stuff, but we just need to make kind of snap decisions. If you're not 100%, skip it, and we'll move on to the next thing. So Andrea, Max, and Jazzy, you guys have any ideas what race you want to play?
Yeah.
All right. Good.
So I am
Max has
playing.
got one.
Oh,
Go on.
sorry. Who should go first?
So this is what we're
You.
going to do. This is what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do for speed and efficiency. I'm going to go in an order always. So it's going to go Andrea, Max, Jazzy. Okay?
Okay.
So when I ask the questions, if you don't have an answer, just be like, pass. So, what are you guys' races?
A Dowing, specifically sibling. Is that how you say that?
Yep, Sibling.
Okay. Sibling.
So you're basically kind of like a high elfish type of person. Okay, Max?
I was looking at Maroshi.
Yeah,
But
Maroshi's cool.
Yeah. But it looks like there's subclasses under it, so I'm continuing to read.
So those subclasses are called sorts. For the Maroshi, they're all very similar. You got the Penth, the Orath, and the can't remember the last one actually. Gamal. You're probably a Penth or an Orath. You might be a Gamal though. That might actually jive with you pretty hard. So take a look at what those are.
Okay.
I think it's Gamal. Jazzy.
Pass for now. I had an idea, but I realized that I was looking at the same thing Ken was, so I was looking for some
It's
variety.
perfectly fine. You guys can play the same race.
It'd be weird if
All right.
we're all different races, because
Yeah, that would be weird.
races
So
like
you
to
can.
stick together.
All right. So depending on what your race and your sword are, that's going to determine your origin and your languages. So don't worry about the language and the origin. We'll get to that. Okay. Begin filling out your character traits. So these are just things you immediately know about your character. At the top left of your character sheet, you're going to see the titled traits. Things like your name, your demeanor, your swagger, your motto. Just pick a few of those and write down something. Write down something the first thing you think is kind of cool about this character. If it's not something that you really dig as we start playing, change it. Not a big deal.
Changes.
Do. We're going to get into fate and all kinds of stuff here in a minute. All right, you guys got D12s?
Yeah.
Correct. I'm looking at the Sinjal folk. Is that how you say that?
Schnall.
Schnall.
Yeah, Schnall means clever people.
Ooh, they're smart.
People believe that it means small people. It actually means clever people. As in the world of Craster, people think, oh, that they misinterpret it. Okay, everybody roll a d12.
D12.
D12. If it is above a 6, so if it's a 7 or above, you rolled high, otherwise you rolled low. Keep that number in your mind, as in whether or not you rolled high or low. Okay? What'd you all roll?
Gotcha.
High or low?
Low.
Hi.
Okay. Ken, did you roll?
I rolled high.
Okay. Roll your d12 again. Now tell me what the number is and whether you rolled high or low. We'll start with Andrea, then Holker, then Ken, then Max, then Jazz.
So I rolled low, and then the number was 8.
Okay. If you rolled an 8, I think you've done this before. Nope. You are the chariot. This is under your fate.
Mhm.
So you're a chariot. It's natural drive, grit, or determination.
Huh. That kind of
Okay.
works for the character, so that's good.
I rolled high, and then I rolled a 5.
5 high. So, oh my, that's gonna be good. Yeah, there we go. You got the tower, which is destruction. Cull the weak. You're a jerk, but in a good way. Ken?
I mean, I rolled a 10 and then I rolled a 7, but I also already filled this out as the chariot.
Oh, well, then you get the chariot too. All right, Max.
6 and low.
6 and low. You are the Hierophant, or the Hierophant. That is a prophet, guide in the way of the spirit, messenger, or harbinger of fate. Harbinger of fate.
Okay.
Which, if you picked Gamal, then that would make a ton of sense.
Okay. Where is that in the book? Because I can't.
Look,
I
chapter
found
2.
a chapter where? 2.
Chapter 2.
Okay.
Jazzy, what'd you roll?
11.
11. Did you go get high or low?
Hi.
You got judgment, decisiveness, the ability to reorient in the face of adversity. So that is your fate. All right, so period of life is something that we can pick. Basically, it's how old you are, your period of life. But it's also how old you are sort of mentally, spiritually in your life. So you could be an 80-year-old person who is actually a child, or a child, of 5 years old who has worldly wisdom like, a Bene Gesserit's sister or something. So, here are the periods of life. We're going to quickly go through them, and you just pick one. Child, young, hardened, aged, venerable, and rough. Child is the world's mysterious and full of places, physical, spiritual. You're innocent. Young is you're no longer a child, but you are exploring the different facets of existing. Hardened, you've lived long enough, and life has kicked you in the balls. You got some resilience, but you're a little calloused. Aged, you might emerge from the womb as an old soul, demonstrating wisdom of how the world works. However, you're not as excited or as someone who's younger than you. Venerable, living for so long offers a Zen, which is a person, a sort of worldly wisdom, if not shrewdness. You've seen good Zens lose out, terrible Zens win despite their corruption. And you have scars to prove this. Rough. Some Zens live way too long. They live through their prime and begin to wane. So make your choice there.
Young.
I'm the child. I'm innocent.
Oh yeah. Good. All right. For your focus, all of you are burning focus. So I don't know what Ken or Holker picked, but it should be burning.
It is burning.
That is a mortal's soul that has been somewhat awakened. Normally people pick really high ones, but you don't want to do that for this.
I feel like I was just part of a team that was burning.
Yeah. It's a sensation you have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so there's some of your stuff. Have you all picked any of your title traits?
Oh, absolutely.
Your motto?
Yeah, one.
Your
Yeah.
demeanor?
Yeah.
Physicality?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Oh yes.
Okay, now that you have a few of those, we're going to move on from it. We're going to go down to backgrounds. Okay, your backgrounds, you got to make some choices here. This is chronological. So the first background is where you would have started. You can repeat backgrounds. It's no problem. First background, you get 2 gifts for. So the first one, think of where did your character start? Were you a blue blood? Were you rich? Well, you probably started as fortunate. That's the background. Were you in a mage college and you're a flippin' mage and we get to deal with mages? Okay, sure. Were you a street rat? So you'd be the underdog. Did you come out and it's a warrior type society? You had to fend for yourself. You're a warrior or a mercenary, or there's all the backgrounds. So you got to choose one and choose the next one. Again, this is a one shot. The world does not depend on these. Whatever seems cool, do it. And we'll make it make sense, right? It's a narrative game. So I'm going to read through the backgrounds. I want you guys to choose your first one, okay? Let's find out what Holker and Ken's are, though.
Mine
I
Oh, good.
I chose the aesthetic.
Okay, did you choose it twice?
No. For my second one, I was thinking of going mercenary.
Okay, so ascetic is essentially a monk. It's a thinker. It's someone who goes off into the wilderness. And then, mercenary is a mercenary. What'd you choose, Ken?
I chose monstrous and
Nice. Makes sense.
apothecary.
Yep. All right, monstrous is a background you can take. It basically gives you other abilities. Okay, here they are. You have apothecary. Apothecary is a curious-minded, strong-willed individual. They're thinkers, inventors, scientists. This is a kind of pseudoscience. Think alchemy. An apothecary is educated, whether by their access to scrolls and learning, or that they've been trained by a master. Perhaps they were just precocious and tooled around in the shed. While they might naturally reach understanding of common problems, they must study, investigate, and collaborate. That's what an apothecary is doing. You can have bad guys who are apothecaries. For example, snake oil salesmen and that sort of thing.
I'm a physician, specifically.
Ascetic are those who gain insight from wandering the world over. Vagabonds, perhaps they're divorcing themselves from the world. Perhaps they're just thinking. Others sought training from soothsayers of high brilliance, mystics. Ascetics seek to understand their inner being in greater degrees than the average person. So you got apothecary, you've got ascetic. Also, once you guys have chosen, tell me. Devout. You can probably gather what a devout is. It's a person who has faith and or believes in something. Perhaps it's a god, perhaps it's in themselves, perhaps it's a philosophy. Regardless, it's this idea of they're not necessarily zealots, but they are striding forward based on a code, something they are devout to. You guys chosen anything yet? Or are you waiting?
I've chosen, but not
Right.
one of those two.
Okay, fine.
I chose aesthetic for my first one.
Yep. Jazz?
I have not chosen yet.
Where are the backgrounds in the DreadLore book?
Chapter 3 is character creation, and backgrounds start about page 100. Okay.
So I was close.
Do I need to continue with these, or can we move on?
I mean, I'm
Let's
good.
continue a little bit.
Okay. Fortunate. You're blessed with wealth, status, or just good luck. Fortunate were born into or became the object of what most desire. Lady Fate and her sisters, and even Opportunity herself, hint, hint, that is lore, by the way, are fickle gods who favor whom they shall, when they shall. Fortunate Zens, so Zens are people of the world. Fortunate Zens won the gamble without trying. Then again, whether you've got coin or destitution, there's no guarantees in life. So you can be fortunate and not rich. Yeah. I think a good example of that would have been any of Andrea's previous characters.
Way.
Mage. Guess what a mage is? Mages use their focus, creativity, and knowledge of magicka to change the world with their intentions. If magicka is to art as ttrpg is to science, then mages are artists. They live, breathe, and exist in a world perceived wholly different from their peers. They study and seek knowledge about how chaos pushes and pulls reality, and they aim to master it. So I will warn you all, playing a mage, while incredibly fun, will take a lot of energy, both in-game and out. But you will wield chaos. All right, mercenary. You might also note the cosplay person for mercenary. Scoundrel, bounty hunter, warmonger. You may have been called all of these names at one time or another. You, the mercenary, however, have your reasons for your choices that you've made. If you're going to risk your neck for another creature, why not make a living out of it? Mercenaries are versatile in what they know and how they manage the craft. This versatility gives them an edge over more conventional warriors. The quote is by Vox Machina: "When in doubt, we encourage violence." Ranger. Cosplayed by Archangel, actually. All right, shall I continue or can we move on?
Just use that, I guess.
Keep going.
Okay.
Or, I mean, we can move on.
Huh?
I meant that we can move on. Sorry.
Okay. Well, we will move on because we need to get to the next part. All right, Joe, aspects. So, on the right side of your sheet, you'll find your aspects. You guys know all this. You're going to get, based on your tier of play, a certain number of picks for your aspects. You get 12 ranks in your aspects. All of your aspects start at rank 1. So, what I do is I put a little tally where it says ranks, and I put a tally on all of them because you get 1 rank. Now you get 12. Disseminate them as you wish to a maximum of 6 on any aspect. These directly correlate to what your aspect dice are, and they give you your cunning and your plot armor and a lot of those other things.
Sure. And there are abilities that enhance those, I believe.
There are some abilities that enhance them. So, long the short of it is this: brawn and mind are your power aspects. Grace and wits are your acuity or agility aspects. So, I mean, they're pretty straightforward in that regard. So choose those. I'll give you a couple moments to do that. For your breath, you can put a 3 in breath. Everybody has 3 breath. What'd you say, Ken?
So it's a total of 12 aspects. That is correct.
No. It's a total of 16.
16. Oh yeah. Okay. Got
because they all start at 1 and you get 12.
it. Yeah. Got it. Copy that. That's correct. 12 additional.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
you
I
have to
did
be
it
very,
right.
very specific. Very specific, because players will find a way to misinterpret the rules. Some of the language in the book is chunky, and it's because it over explains, and still, games are just hard. Learning a game is hard.
Everything
All right.
is hard.
Have you guys mostly done this?
Duh.
Da.
All right. Don't worry about your language or your origin and that stuff. We will get to that. It'll be pretty straightforward. Boof, boof, boof. You also get, and write this down on your sheet, you will get 16 picks. This is basically for everything else. This is for proficiencies, abilities, and or upgrades. So you share those 16 picks for all of those. Okay? We'll go through that here in a moment. Just write down 16, and as you pick them, maybe next to that number, put a tally so you know how many you've used. This is separate from your 12 aspects. This has nothing to do with aspects. So, has everyone chosen your aspect ranks? Hold up a thumbs up if you have.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we're waiting on Jazzy and Andrea, which is totally cool.
I'm ready. Sorry,
Oh, your video is just behind on mine. Sorry.
I gotcha.
All right. We're going to go down to proficiencies. Talk about that a little bit. Your proficiencies are your rerolls. You, as indicated on your sheet, you can have a maximum number of those. Excuse me. I want to say it's 4. Is it 4 or 5? How many little boxes do you have in each?
4.
4?
And there are abilities that enhance that.
Yes, but we're not going to go through all the abilities because it will literally be here all night.
Yep. All night.
Meaning, I don't want
night.
people, unless you actually know which one you want, don't search for it because it'll take forever. Okay. Your proficiencies, you guys have all played. I'm going to move through them rather quickly. Expression, fabrication, learning, movement, skullduggery, and violence. They're pretty self-explanatory. The only one that maybe isn't is skullduggery. It's unscrupulous deeds, lying, cheating, legerdemain. So sleight of hand and this kind of thing. Those are rerolls. When you're taking an action and it has to do with one of those, you might say, "Hey, I rolled my dice. I threw down dice. I want to make a reroll of one of those dice. Spend the proficiency, and you can do it." You just have to make it make sense. Rerolls are very important, right? So of those 16 ranks that you have to split between abilities, upgrades, and proficiencies, some of them are going to go here. I suggest choose 4 proficiencies and hit it. When I say 4, I mean maybe you do 3 picks of violence and 1 of movement. Or perhaps 1 fabrication, 1 learning, and 2 movement, something like that. I would pick at least 4 proficiencies. As in 4 boxes, okay? Abilities. Abilities are essentially traits, so you use them to do stuff. What they are, how they are different than traits are, you can upgrade them. And when you upgrade them, you get bonus successes. If an ability is not upgraded, it doesn't give you any successes. Now, in the book, there are some abilities that do very specific things. They're exceptions to the rule, and you have to read what that is. But by and large, an ability works this way. You could create one and say, my character knows how to ride motorcycles. Okay, motorcycle rider, that's your ability. Fine. If you upgrade it once, then it gives you a bonus success. If you upgrade it twice, it gives you 2 bonus successes. That's the basic rule of abilities. How you use them is on your turn, you bid to do an action. So you bid, I want to ride this motorcycle. Cool, what do you bid? I bid my name, Gargle Blaster. Okay, cool. My name is Gargle Blaster, and I'm going to ride that motorcycle. You do it. Maybe you need to throw down, and you need successes because this is a weird motorcycle. Okay, well, I'm going to activate my ability, Motorcycle Driver, using another trait. I'm going to bid Handy. Boom. Now I get the benefits of Motorcycle Driver. So you have to activate abilities to actually use them. What I suggest for you all making the characters, choose 3 abilities. 3 things your character can do that most people cannot do. So at this point, you would have chosen 4 proficiencies and 3 abilities. So that's 7 of your 16.
I have
That's where
another
I would be
suggestion.
right now. Yes.
When you're writing some of this stuff down out of the book, note the page number right next to it.
Always a good idea. I had intended on doing the quick con version of character creation, but it wouldn't work since Ken and Holker have full characters because they'd just be way too powerful for you. So we're just going to go through the whole thing.
Good question.
Yeah.
With like magic abilities, like if I, because like what I'm looking at right now is like the scroll of biomancy.
Yep.
Do I just write down scroll of biomancy as the ability, or?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So that's a whole bunch of information, and it's a lot of choices. This is the thing that takes the most time. You got a lot of choices. You have to decide which ones you're going to pick. I suggest for right now, don't read through everything and deliberate hardcore because, again, it's a one-shot. If something interests you, pick it. And you'll if you don't use it, you don't use it. If you do, you get to investigate it. So I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to decide those things. All right? Meanwhile, does anyone have any questions?
I have one. I think with my ability pick, I get a ttrpg device potentially.
Okay.
And I was
usually abilities do not give you theurgy or don't give you device.
Not background. I'm sorry. A ttrpg device with the puck.
Yes. You're going full on. Yeah.
I don't have to. I don't have
No, you're
I don't have
you're
one.
right. Right.
I don't have one.
No, it's just I was hoping to do the 10-minute version of character creation, but
right. I'm ready.
we have full characters, so
I got nothing.
You know,
I got nothing for you.
Then you might as well do it. Do it. It'll give us something to talk about while people are making decisions.
I'm ready.
It's just gonna take a lot longer than.
I was just thinking, just like a cauterizing thing. You know, a little cauterizer, like with a runic cauterizer. Is that like a little heating elemental runic?
I think that's awesome. I think you should do that.
All right. So I didn't want to, like, you know, jump the gun, but I thought it would be helpful.
No, I think that's good. What I'm talking about is you can get really down into the minutia. That's part of what the game allows. Like the character creation, you can really get in and figure out characters in a very developed way, but you don't have to play the game. But the more developed that a player does go, the more powerful you are. So if everyone goes that way, we're going to do this for 2 hours.
Sure.
Because you got to read the book and
read it.
So I have this sort of direction I think I'm going with the character, and for the flaws, because I deliberately chose 2 flaws that I thought would be funny.
Okay.
The one I chose was Mark, and the other one I made up was more money than sense.
Okay. Yeah. I love it. Let's talk a little bit about the characters that we've thus far built. Okay. We won't go into super detail. We don't need to know every trait, but in short, what have you guys done thus far? We'll start with Andrea.
So, going along with the sibling, notion that sort of like a high elf, as a general overview, she grew up, always being treated nicely and didn't quite get that like arrogant, I'm better than you attitude, but she kind of got like this, I want to make friends with everybody because, why wouldn't I want to be friends with everybody? Which made her a bit, what's we're looking for, naive. But she found when she discovered biomancy, she realized, oh, I can use this to make everybody feel really good when I'm around them, and they'll all want to be my friend. So that's that's
Oh my
yeah.
God, that's good.
So she just, her main goal in life is just to make as many friends as possible, and her most recent thing that she was a student, just, trying to learn all the things because everything is fun.
Okay, I love it. Here's a little bit about the Scroll of Biomancy. Scroll of Biomancy is the study of exchanging and manipulating vital energy, moving ethos from one place to another. Those who practice this magicka are called biomancers, life mages, and are colloquially known as surgeons and healers, or blights and necromancers. So a necromancer would be a biomancer. It's just how do you use your magic? They're among the most misunderstood mages who walk Craster. Some surgeons aid any berk they find in need. They wander battlefields helping the wounded, or they post up in settlements and make a name for themselves as healers. Surgeons have been known to usher on those on the precipice of death, letting them die peacefully. The Ting Shuo, which means the hearsay, Ting Shuo's that a penance must be paid for rushing the cowl's work. The cowl is the death, or is death. And the surgeon might take damage from absorbing her patient's last bit of ethos. Others use their understanding of ethos to create undead slaves or worse, feed off those unfortunate enough to cross their paths. So Andrea, your character, when you do biomancy, the materials you need are ethos, blood, vitality, meaning there's always an exchange.
Yeah.
You don't just heal people. It's got to come from somewhere. Something that you should pay attention to, since you're a mage, is your magicka control, which is a little bit above biomancy. It's explained on 163. You definitely should spend some of your picks on magical control. Otherwise, what you will want to do, you'll kind of do.
Gotcha. So is that just like a separate ability?
So magical control is a specific thing to magicka.
Okay.
And it's not an ability that you activate. It sort of is your rating within a scroll of magicka.
Okay.
So it's per scroll. So you don't just have it for all of magicka. You have a magicka control per ability of magicka.
Okay. So is that just basically like upgrades, or how?
No, they're not.
Okay.
Go to 163 and read it.
Yeah, I just don't.
It's pretty straightforward, and it's just a couple paragraphs, and then it'll explain with examples galore. You'll also see yourself in cosplay acting like a mage.
Mage it up.
All right, Max and Jazzy, how are we doing?
Are we talking backgrounds right now?
Yeah. Have you guys chosen your backgrounds?
Yeah, I went
Yes.
with aesthetic and fortunate.
Nice. What about you, Jazz?
Ranger and mercenary.
Good.
Mercenary and Ranger. You flipped this. They flipped the order.
So for proficiencies,
pick
what
two
did you guys
Ranger
pick
skills.
for your proficiencies?
I haven't gotten there yet.
Have you picked any abilities?
Bottom of the screen. This thing.
No, I did. We did pick 3 gifts, but we haven't gotten to the
That's good.
abilities yet.
That's good. All right, so now move on to your proficiencies. I would do that first.
Okay.
I would pick at least 4,
Okay.
and then I'd pick 3 abilities.
Okay.
If it were me, I would upgrade those abilities all the way. So I'd pick 3 abilities, each with 2 upgrades. That way, you're really good at what that is. When you use it, it actually is very effective.
Okay.
You don't have to do that, but I suggest it.
I did not do
In
All
terms
right.
of the magical, control, just real quick, where do I put that?
I would write it on your sheet on the right. Basically, next to any scroll that you have, I would note what the magical control is.
Okay, gotcha.
So you start off with 1, with humble control. And then you build it up with your picks or advancements from there.
Okay, gotcha.
Is anyone else doing Magicka?
No way. That's hard.
It's fine if you do. Is anyone doing Thergy? Or taking Thergy as an ability?
No.
Where are our abilities in the book?
So abilities should be, if I remember correctly, chapter 4. That is page 151. And the chart for it, because I've explained quite a bit about it, the chart is on 155. That'll give you sort of the categories of them, and then the actual abilities themselves. So for the chat, abilities are this. There's the Art of Magicka, which there's several forms. There's the Codex of Mastery, Traditions of Mysticism. It's a kind of, it's not Magicka, but is supernatural. Manuals of Thergy, this is science and pseudoscience, and then the Treaties of War. Those are the categories. Categories are not abilities, but it's just a way of organizing the abilities. Some of them have subcategories, and within those, you'll actually see the abilities that you take.
In categories.
This is all magic.
So the difference would be, if you're talking about violence, go to Treaties of War. If you're going for skill type focuses, go to Codex of Mastery.
So I want this.
If you want to do magic, go to Art of Magicka, of course. If you want to do some sort of science or soothsaying, go to Manuals of Thergy. And if you want to have like a kind of mysticism, an alternative power, then that would be Traditions of Mysticism. These are not exhaustive lists. Within each category they are, but like I said, you can make up your own ability. It just follows the rules I dictated before. Our Lady Knight, the Knight, Craven. I dig that. Harry Bunkum says.
Which one did you say was the soothsayer under? Was that mysticism?
Mysticism.
So you would, there's a couple. There's Traditions of Mysticism, and there's also Manuals of Thergy, specifically the Journal of Weird Astronomy. So, Journal of Weird Astronomy is on page 202. And that gets into soothsaying, very specifically soothsaying. Essentially, you imbibe a bunch of chemicals or get yourself in a state of being, and you're able to get premonitions. They are called weirdos and astronomers. Now, if you want to be a mystic, that's someone who's more about like animal totems or belief in a deity, or perhaps even a belief in themselves. That would be the traditions of mysticism.
That's true.
If you're trying to be a shaman, you might do both. All right, so we're going to give this a bit of a time limit because we can go through the whole thing, and then you guys are going to have to go. So it looks like it's 8:16 right now for you all. We're going to give it to 8:25, and then we're going to start rolling.
Do you want to?
So we got to make this.
Take a short break now, and
unless you guys want to talk and chill, I say we take a short break. But we will start rolling it in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am ready to go.
All right. Well, for those of you that are finished, what do you want to do, Ken? Do you want to take a break or not?
it's up to you. I mean, I'm ready to go if you want to break it up.
Well, we need to give them
or
8 or 9 minutes to finish.
Yeah.
And then we can.
So let's take a break.
We'll take a break.
All right. Well, this character creation episode has been brought to you by DreadLore and the sponsor of I forget the sponsor. It didn't really call to me anyway. This immersive role-playing game is super exciting. With the cast of Bill Bunkum, Ken Howl, Daniel Hulker, Drizzle is out this week, Andrea Elliott-Johnson, Jazzy Cabbage, and Max. Super duper duper thank you to our Patreon member, or to The Score by all lowercase letters and Mr. Interrupt, and our Patreon members, Tim Roberts, Daniel Hulker, Nostalgic, and Natalia Cline. Art Media is happened by Couch Fire Media, and a very throbbing amount of culture and content creation has been brought to you by ttrpg Productions. That's right, ttrpg Productions, for whatever the figgle stew they do. We'll be back in a minute. Thanks for playing.